Namaskara. Good morning, good evening, RCB Nation. It's been a
Namaskara,
long time.
Namaskara, Vanakkam.
Vanakkam.
We are here after one full week off for the match preview of match 52, and it's a big one because RCB and CSK are playing another match. Every time these two teams play, it is a big deal. I don't care what Mumbai Indians fans say. This is the rivalry of the IPL. And what we have here is you can name it whatever you want. Southern Derby, Masala Dosa Supremacy, Filter Coffee Superiority, Kaveri River Rivalry. You call it what you want. This is Blockbuster, and we are here for the match preview. Now, you must be wondering why we have some CSK junk down in the screen here. And there's a reason for that. So without further ado, let me introduce two near and dear guests. Two new guests to the show. On the right there, we have my dearest cousin brother, straight from Bengaluru, Mr. Santosh Kumar. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Karthik.
And we also have his son, also from Bengaluru, our dearest cousin, even though he's a CSK fan, our dearest nephew, Yashas Kumar. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Karthik.
So, like I said to you just before the show, any other CSK fan, I would not let them on the show. But because we love you so much, you are most welcome. And now you're going to face some of the fire a little bit. We'll get to the match preview, but because it's RCB CSK and it's such a big deal, and as you can see, our family gets really excited for it, we're going to spend the first 15 minutes with a good old-fashioned banter. And we're going to ask, each of us are going to ask Yashas one question regarding his CSK fandom, and he can answer however he wants. So I'll go first. I always wanted to ask you this. Why did you become a CSK fan? Why did you start supporting this lame franchise?
See, I think you got it wrong in your statement right there. First of all, it's not a lame franchise. First of all, I think CSK is the most successful franchise in the IPL history, and what's something that you need to focus on is why do we support a team? Let's take RCB for an example. This year, RCB has only two Karnataka players, only two Bangalorean players. Whereas this year, CSK has one Bangalorean player. So I don't really understand what's the logic behind supporting RCB just because you live in Bangalore, though there are no Bangalore players. I think it's DDP and Manoj Bandage who are your Karnataka players. But if they were players actually based on your state playing for your IPL team, it makes sense. But I feel there's a certain culture in CSK that they've built, one of trust, consistency, and loyalty to its players. That really resonated with me, and what drew me was the calm and discipline of MSD, the none other than Azala, and that's why I support CSK.
Paita. Mr. Santosh Kumar, would you like to ask your son a question?
Oh my God, I don't know what bantering it was. This was like a typical CSK Dhoni interview where, it starts with what is important is, and it never stops. And that's exactly how the response was. So my question to, this is not about RCB versus CSK. It's much more than that because it's actually a father-son IPL rivalry that we have every year because Yasha supports, CSK every year, and I commend him for the bravery that he has because CSK is not a team anymore. That's number one. So my question to Yashas is, you look like a young guy, and I know you are young, but do you like to live in the past? Because CSK is more like a museum where you keep playing the highlights, decade-year-old highlights. So I don't know what you're looking there or what you're finding there. Why do you like staying in the past?
I think, see, in my defense, it's not a past. We won 2 years ago in 2023, and that's pretty recent. I think we gotta agree we didn't do a really good job in the mega auction. But let me ask you, are you living in the past, present, or the future? I don't think RCB has any of them. Looking at this season also, I think
This is coming from somebody who is at bottom of the table, so we will let it go this time.
We're off and running. Deepak, my friend, let's rag on him. What is your question to our resident ardent CSK fan?
I mean, I feel like there's 100 questions I could ask, but since we can only keep it to one, obviously for time's sake, I mean, not we've talked about, past, present. What about the future? What about when Tala himself eventually he's gonna walk away, he's gonna retire. What does your CSK fandom look like post MS Dhoni?
Great question.
I think you were right. I think looks like it's Dhoni's last season, and you may say that CSK franchise is built around Dhoni. But I think there's two things. One is even though Dhoni lives, there's always something symbolic with Dhoni and CSK, and I think that bond will always stay. And when Dhoni is there, I don't think he'll actually leave CSK. When he leaves, he'll either become a mentor, coach, or something related to there. So he'll always be in the franchise. And I think that's enough for. I think the number of fans we have is unmatchable to any of the other franchises.
Oh
So-
my God. Stop it.
Where do you go? In which stadium, when you go away, do you see only your color, a sea of yellow? I don't think that happens with any other franchise. So I don't think a future is the question for us.
Fair. And last but not least, would you have a question for him, Dad?
Oh, yeah. I do have a question. I think I have watched it many times. I have never ever seen a franchise where the fans celebrate the falling of a wicket of their own player. I have watched it many times. Jadeja gets run out and the stadium go bonkers because Tala is coming. How do you explain this absolute, I'm sorry to say, nonsense?
Yeah. How do you explain that?
All I can say are our fans are crazy. I think at least we have something to celebrate about. We have something to cheer upon. We have someone that's symbolic to our franchise. And yes, it may be a little extreme that okay, someone's getting out and Tala is coming. But we're looking at the brighter side. We're looking at how even though a wicket fell, Tala is coming and he's gonna save us and he's gonna actually win us the match. So I think that's our logic behind. You can't even question what Dhoni's done in the history of this game. I think he's done a lot for the franchise and any type of cricket he's played. So I think that's the rationale behind it.
Yeah, I will say something else, but we can, use it for future. I think some company uses expired products on the shelf. I know you know what you're talking about, but go ahead, Karthik.
And we can also save this for later, but I want this to be known. You spoke about past, present, and future, Yeshu. Past includes 2016 and 17 also. That should be in the record. So don't forget about that, Pat. Don't forget about that, Pat. I want to turn it over to you also, though, Yeshus, because whenever we have RCB CSK matches, the family group text it blows up, right? This is like, especially after what happened last season with the very dramatic last match of the season. So to you, what makes the RCB CSK rivalry so special, so big? And also compare it to me from your standpoint, from your CSK standpoint, to the CSK Mumbai rivalry, because we only ever have the RCB perspective. I want to hear your perspective.
Okay, I think if you compare both of them, I think CSK MI is more of a inter-franchise, and I think because we have won 5 titles, they have won 5 titles, and obviously we both are considered one of the most successful franchises. So each team wants to be the better of them. I think the rivalry is more based on that, on beating them. But I think the CSK RCB rivalry is different. I think it's more fun. It's more engaging because it does not it does not end with the players. It ends with the fans. I think it's between the fans. If you take a CSK MI game, there's not much between the fans. But if any CSK RCB game, there's always a rivalry between the fans. And I think that's what really sets up the match. I think as a family, since all of you are dead hard RCB fans and I'm the only CSK fan, it just that's why our group chat blows up every time we have the match.
That's a great answer. What makes the rivalry so special for you, boss Santosh?
I want to say that probably the rivalry was special and will continue to be special. I think this year it has fizzed out a little bit just because of how the season has gone. But
Yeah.
historically, it's always been RCB versus CSK. And I think the rationale, besides what Yasha said, is really between two iconic players. It's Dhoni versus Kohli. And, to be honest, whatever it is, I think we need to give the credit to Dhoni for what he has done to cricket and what he has done to the IPL franchise. And, Kohli and Dhoni have been loyal to their fan base and the teams since the start of the IPL. And what that means is, they literally represent their team, and there's a huge fan base just for those two players. So keep aside, all the other players, but it's really about Kohli versus Dhoni. And, this time around, I'm looking forward for it because this might be one of the last times we probably see Kohli and Dhoni playing together at Chinnaswamy in an IPL game, for all you know. So I think that makes it even more special to witness, be part of that history.
Great. That's actually one of the big reasons why I think the rivalry has blossomed into what it is now. My personal answer is that familiarity breeds contempt. We're right next to each other. There's a river that flows down. We have the same food, the same coffee. Everything is so similar. People from Karnataka go to Tamil Nadu to settle, and vice versa. And there's a lot of intermixing geographically, which I think adds to the. I don't think it's animosity. I think it's more just like I really want to beat the people that I know. So that's the sense that I get when RCB CSK play each other, because it's almost like playing your own cousin. It's like they're right there, 2 hour drive, nice highway. You just go down the road and that's their stadium. So I think that it's very unique in that sense, and no other IPL franchises are so close in proximity, and that's what I've always felt about the rivalry. Deepak, what say you?
I mean, I think I would say you guys already pretty much said what I was going to say, but just, yeah, really adding on to that, it's definitely the location, the proximity between the two cities and the two states is obviously a huge factor. The fact that I think the biggest point also, especially for what really built it up until now, is Kohli's been with RCB since 2008, since the beginning. Dhoni has been with CSK, barring those 2 years, which we don't have to get into, since 2008 as well. So it's that two cricketers that have really just set the standard in different ways, where in terms of Kohli with his batting, his fitness, things like that. Same thing, Dhoni is his leadership, being cool under pressure, finishing matches, that sort of thing. And so just having two super mega stars like that to carry a close proximity rivalry onward and forward, I think has really contributed to it a lot. And I mean, I think overall, they played in a lot of important matches too. You think about, I think, what was it, the 2011 final they played, CSK RCB, the match last year, which was basically a eliminator basically in itself before the playoffs actually started. So I think putting all those things together, it just really creates for a great rivalry that, while it definitely has, hasn't been quite the same going into tomorrow for this year as opposed to past years, it's still a rivalry that'll live on and sort of beat the test of time.
Final word on this?
Yeah, I'm going to add it, make it brief, but because we have to really talk about the game tomorrow, I don't think it's fizzed out. Number one. Number two is, look, there's a team which has nothing to lose tomorrow. There's a team which has everything to gain tomorrow. You can see the table. It can turn its head down at the end of the season, and you can find out that, oops, Oh, we didn't make it. So RCB has more at stake. The pressure is on RCB, us. And then obviously the ones who didn't make it to the playoffs are always in it to spoil the party. And then last year, I don't know who didn't handshake who. So that's playing on everybody's mind. Just saying.
Well said. Now let's go to that points table. I think that's the perfect segue. I'm gonna pull it up here. Give me 1 second. Here it is. As you can see, RCB was first the whole week. And let me just look down here. I don't see. Oh, sorry, bro. CSK, I don't see on this table. See, the computer screen was only so much. I couldn't get the bottom all the way.
Irrelevant.
So I'm really sorry, Yeshas. This might not be totally accurate. I don't really know what CSK's record is, but I know they're below this. So here's where we stand right now. Just like Appa said, we have a lot to gain here. With the win, we would go back to the top of the table. So without further ado, let's get into the real nitty-gritty of tomorrow's match. And that starts with our playing 11 here, which I also have pulled up. Dad, I'm gonna turn this to you because I think I think it's safe to say the leader of the Jacob Bethell bandwagon. That's what I'm gonna phrase it as. And there was a clip, Devdutt Padikkal, before the match, just 15-second clip. He was asked if Phil Salt will come back, and he kind of gave like a flimsy answer. We're not really sure about Phil Salt's fitness. Let's assume Phil Salt is fit and ready to go tomorrow. Does Jacob Bethell still get into your playing 11-12? Yes or no? Why not? Why or why not?
Oh, I'm so tempted. I'm so tempted. It's the question of an all-round option with either a medium pacer or fast bowler versus a spin option, right? So I don't know how the pitch is going to play out. The Chinnaswamy pitch this year is unpredictable. It's not the 200 to 220 pitch anymore. So I think it's going to be, if Salt is playing, it's a toss-up between Bethell and Shepherd. I like Bethell, but unfortunately also Romario hasn't had chances to prove himself. So I'm really torn. But I am actually on the Bethell bandwagon. Baruaga Bettale, Hoguaga Bettale.
Deepak, very briefly, Bethell or Shepherd? You can only pick one.
Yep. So to me, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So Salt and then Shepherd. I think that combination worked all year. I think if Salt is ready to go, then he should bat. He should play. It would be a little bit different, I think, because Bethell showed promise. He played a couple nice shots in the last match against Delhi, but still got out for only 12 or 13. So I trust Phil Salt, trust Romario Shepherd. I trust the combination that's worked. Where I would just feel uncomfortable changing it up, especially for no provoked reason at this point, with only 3 or 4 games left.
Fair. Santosh, you see any changes?
I don't. I think we need to think about how Andy Flower thinks, and I think we have formed a core team here, and I don't see any reason why to change it unless Phil Salt hasn't recovered from whatever illness that he had, and it's not just about this game. On the lighter side, this is the game where you can score runs and get the confidence and be prepared for the next set of games, which means I would love to have Phil Salt back in the mix and then get him, have a huge start for him and boost up the confidence for the rest of the game. So I don't see anything changing. And to be honest, Shepherd was more of a replacement for Livingstone. It's really about, is Salt recovered? And if so, I would just put him back into the mix.
Without thinking.
Without thinking, yeah.
Okay. Yeshas bye. Let's go on to the CSK 12 here. I have a lot of questions about this 11 or 12 because they haven't performed. It's simple as that. This is the playing 12 from the last match. And I want to ask you, do you see any changes in this team for tomorrow's match?
I think one change it's time that they really remove Deepak Hooda. I think he's been given the chances, and unfortunately, he's not had the impact he can have. We've seen in the past the impact he can have, but he's not had that. And I think it's time they give a chance to another youngster. I think there's a guy called Vansh Bedi from
Okay.
Delhi. He's a really good. He's a pinch hitter actually. So I think uh, the top order seems fine, but I think Deepak Hooda can get swapped in for Vansh Bedi. It's not like Deepak Hooda is bowling also. And there's one more change I'd like to see, but I don't know if they'll do that. Pathirana is not in the greatest of touch. And if we do get Pathirana for an Indian, we open up an overseas spot at the top for either Conway or Rachin.
Yeah.
And either Matre can bat at 3 or Rashid can sit out for one game.
I actually, from RCB fan standpoint, the changes that you made, I don't want to see. I want them to keep this exact 12. I want to see Deepak Hooda tomorrow because that guy has been in bad form for what seems like 2 years now. So if you were to sub him out, give chance to a youngster, and you fill Pathirana's spot with an Indian fast bowler, I am more fearful of someone like Conway, someone like Rachin, especially like the Bangalore connection with Rachin. It's just annoying if he scores runs against
Oh,
us.
it is.
So I think you make great points. Let's talk about Pathirana a little bit more, Yashas, because I know that he's most likely gonna just be penciled in for tomorrow's playing 12. And you can also probably pencil in him in for bowling 4 overs tomorrow. Here are his numbers from 2024 and 2025. I think this is really, really stark difference. Last year, 6 matches, 13 wickets, sub-8 economy. He was all the rage. Oh my God, Dhoni has transformed this guy into Sri Lankan Jasprit Bumrah. That's all we heard. This year, these are terrible numbers. He's going at 10. He's averaging 33. 26 wides. That is unbelievable. That leads the IPL by a big margin. What happened to this man?
I think there's one key change which has really impacted him, and I think that's the release point. In the past 2 years, if you actually see his average release points, they have increased by slight margins. It may not seem like a lot, but it really affects his bowling. And I think it's very evident in 2024 he played 6 matches, which clearly shows that he was not fit for the rest of the 8 matches. And I think to reduce the number of injuries that he's going to have, I think he's increased his release point, the height of his release point, which has made him not so effective in the style he bowls, and which has reduced his control, I feel. And I think it's not made him the Pathirana we want to see. So I think that's the main thing that there's a difference between this season and last season.
I think his price was 13 crores. I think that's something that CSK is going to regret. And I'm not sure he's going to be retained at the end of the season. So that's him. I want to go over one more matchup from the RCB perspective. Deepak, this is the guy that it's your boy, but not when we play CSK. That is Shivam Dube. Similar trend to Pathirana in terms of the batting, in terms of the better year last year and a big dip this year. So as you can see, the runs and the average are fine, but striking at 30 points less is a very, very big dip. Are you still fearful of Dube tomorrow? What goes into our matchup with him tomorrow in your mind?
Yep. So in terms of tomorrow's match, I would say I'm definitely still fearful of him. Where I would say with how CSK has played, I would say it's at least batting wise, him and that Dewald Brevis. Brevis has been in good form, so I'm a little bit weary about him for the match. But in terms of his form, throughout the year, I think it's mostly just the fact that the other batsmen around him overall just have not produced, and that's had to expand his role, where he's had to be more knocking it around, play longer innings, carry more of a load overall, as opposed to basically just being a middle over spin hitting six hitting merchant that he has been, which has been great for him. But when he's in that role, I think that's when he's at his best. But now that he's had to take on more pressure with the underperformance of, I mean, a number of guys you could go through with CSK's batting lineup, I think that's also had a domino effect and really affected his play as well.
I think you're right. I think there's a lot of pressure on Dube because of what's happened around him. And I think that's taken away from some of his aggressive play that we've seen in the past, where he's played some devastating knocks against RCB in the past. So I'm definitely fearful of him. But if we can make the dominoes around him fall, like you said, tomorrow, I think we should be in good shape. So I'm sure Santosh and Yashas have seen this segment before. We have reached the point. Prediction time. We are going to start with the senior most members here. And I would like to ask Dad, give me your honest prediction. Who's going to win? Briefly, how it's going to happen and why. Don't worry about jinxing. Just tell me what you think.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough match. Most of these IPL teams at home have not done good, including CSK. I thought it was only a Chinnaswamy issue. It's a Delhi issue. It's a CSK issue. So it's kind of worldwide. So home games have not been good. So toss is again important. Rain, another factor. So I'm still betting on RCB taking the 2 points. How we're going to do it is going to be a big question. But I told you there are a lot of ifs and buts. I'm also fearful of ex-RCB players coming to Chinnaswamy and burning us. You've seen this over and over again. So Shivam Dube was an ex-RCB. You've seen Siraj come and torch us. You've seen KL Rahul doing the Kantara, this is my ground thing. So barring those fireworks, I think we do have the edge.
Close win then?
Close win, yes. The problem is, I'm haunted positively from last year's win. You know what I mean by that.
That's a good point. That's actually a good point. Vengeance is a strong motivating factor.
Yes, exactly. And then there, Dhoni is looking for receipts.
That's true. Santosh.
All right. You mentioned about the jinx part, so I'm going to ignore that for a moment. But what I do think is, I think it's look, it's 70% chance of rain. It rained heavily today. So for the game, I think if there's a 70% chance of rain, we might expect a curtailed match. I don't want it to be honest, I want a full match, for the team and for the fans and everyone. But maybe let's assume it's a 17-hour match. And to our earlier point, you don't know how the pitch is going to behave because it is under covers for probably a couple of good amount of time in the last couple of days. That means this is probably again going to be a bowler's game. And unfortunately, CSK doesn't have in it to probably, either bat or bowl. So that just gives me the confidence that we will still sort of come up on the top. To be honest, I can't leave this section without bantering more. CSK is more like a Swiss Army knife, but they don't know what tool they are going to open because you try something else comes out and you test it out and it just doesn't work. So based on that confidence, I just think that RCB still has the edge and we are more motivated to make it to the top 2. We are no longer talking about the top 4 this time, which is a welcome, pleasant thing for all of us. And I'm keeping the calculator aside to see whether, we are going to make it, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, I think we're going to have a good game. And as CSK, as RCB fans, we are still on the edge of the seat for every game. I am still wary of some of the guys that Vidya talked about. Absolutely, but I still think RCB is going to win this.
2-0 RCB predictions. We'll make that 3-0 for me too, but I do agree with Appa. Close win. Toss is important. rain is always a stressful factor. Shortened match always favors the weaker team. I think we're the more talented team, but they have a lot of motivation. And at some point, I don't even remember the last time we won 3 matches in a row against CSK. That's what it would be. So I think there's a lot of factors that are outside of the cricket world that are working against us. But on the cricketing field, I think we're the better team. I think we're going to win. I'll say by 20 runs. We have 2 minutes left, so I want to go to Deepak, and then last but not least, Yesha. Deepak, give me your quick prediction.
Yep, so I think I agree with you. Assuming we get a full match, I'll say big toss guy myself, so we're probably going to bat first again, put up around 190. We'll bowl, and then we'll bowl out CSK for about 165, 170, add or subtract a few runs. So I think it'll also be a close match. I think it'll be similar, hopefully not as stressful to the Rajasthan match, the last Chinnaswamy match we played. But for us, RCB, it's all about winning. We control our own destiny. If we win out, all these full matches are played, we're top 2, so that has to be the focus. It doesn't matter how it looks, it just has to be done last 4.
4-0 RCB. Yeshas, you have 45 seconds.
Go ahead.
I think for 2 reasons I'm going to say CSK. One, because last year we all know how RCB ruined CSK's party after a good starting of the season. They spoiled our season, so I think it's time we get back at them. And second reason is rain. I think it's not going to be a great pitch, and considering the spin department we have, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the batters play. We also have between RCB and Punjab how RCB struggled against the bowlers there. I think it's going to be similar against CSK this time.
Okay, there you have it. Enjoy the match. Hopefully no rain. We'll catch you on the flip side in 24 hours. Thank you to our new guests for joining us. RCB. RCB.